What's up, everyone? Welcome back. Well, guys, I am proud to announce that the time has come once again for an annual tradition here on my YouTube channel that started all the way back in 2018, technically 2017, was when I actually recorded those videos, but I didn't get around to uploading them until 2018. But yes, it is time once again for Multi-Steps Race Day. For those of you who don't know, this is an event every year that I do on my YouTube channel where I play through every single racing game that I own, and I do 4 races on every single racing game that I own. Now, that may not sound like much to you guys, you know, only 4 races on every single racing game that I own. Doesn't really sound like much, right? Well, I'll put things in perspective for you guys. So last year, as of last year, I had 67 different racing games. So, if you do the math there, that's 67 times 4. Comes out to, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, 268. So last year, I did 268 races in a row, and holy crap, it was awesome, I gotta say. I had the pleasure of playing a lot of racing games for the first time last year, and you guys seemed to really like it. Didn't have as much engagement as I was hoping right off the bat, to be honest. But some of those videos in particular kind of surprised me. You know, certain games that I thought would not get a lot of views did get a lot of views, and certain ones that I thought maybe would do well didn't do so well. But, you know, that's part of the fun of YouTubing is, you know, especially with a YouTube channel like mine where I play, you know, a very wide variety of games. You know, you never know what videos are going to do well and what videos are not going to do well. It's kind of part of the fun of, you know, YouTubing. But yes, I'm back. It is Race Day 2021 here on Multi-Step, and I'm very excited. This is the 4th year that I am doing this tradition for you guys on my YouTube channel, you know, Multi-Steps Race Day. Again, where I do 4 races on every single racing game that I own, and also go through and play some brand new racing games for you guys. And by brand new, of course, I mean racing games that I've never personally played before. So yeah, I am very excited to be back doing this again for you guys. It's going to be fucking awesome as always. That being said, though, before we get rolling here in Super Off-Road here on the Sega Genesis, I do have some things that I want to say regarding this annual tradition of mine. And I will be reading a prepared statement in a little bit. That's not something that I normally do because, as you guys know, on this YouTube channel, I like to keep it real. You know, I like to keep it loose. I like to basically say everything off the top of my head because, again, I like to keep it real. You know, I don't want anything I say to sound fake necessarily. You know, because, again, I like to keep it real here on this YouTube channel. But sometimes there are some things that I need to explain to you guys, and I'm going to be honest with you guys. I'm really bad at explaining things. I am just absolutely terrible at explaining things to people, which is why I'm never going to be a teacher, ever. That, and I hate our school systems, because our school systems are a joke. But yeah, I've just always found that I'm really bad at explaining things, so sometimes if I write it out, it makes a little bit more sense. I mean, even when I write things out, it still doesn't tend to make a whole lot of sense. But there are a couple things regarding, you know, this race day, this annual race day tradition on my YouTube channel that I want to inform you guys of. Some potential changes to it in the following years. Well, not potential, but some changes that I will make to this particular tradition in the coming years. So there are some things that I want to say coming up here. Before we really kick things off here this year for Race Day, I'm fully expecting, because last year I kind of uploaded the videos a little bit early in the year, and I didn't really like that too much, to be honest. So this is why this year I'm probably going to wait till either like May or June, I'm expecting, is when these videos will get up, because again, full disclosure, again, I'm pre-recording all these videos in advance for you guys, like by several months. Which is what I do with most of the content here on this YouTube channel, which again is why I never run out of content, because I pre-record all my videos several months in advance and then stockpile them on a hard drive and then upload them, you know, basically whenever I get the chance to. Usually I'll do like 1 game every day for you guys. So that's again part of the reason why I'm able to run such an efficient YouTube operation, is that I pre-record all my videos in advance. so that way I never run out of content to upload. Like I could be in a serious accident and be in the hospital for weeks, and so long as I have my laptop, my hard drive, and internet access in the hospital, I could keep uploading videos for you guys, no problem. Like, I would never run out of content to produce for you guys. Like, if I literally stopped recording videos right now, I could still produce content for, like, another 5 to 6 months, probably. Actually, probably more like 8 months, because I have so much shit that I have saved up right now. But yeah, that's how I'm able to run such an efficient YouTube operation here on Multi-Steps, that I pre-record all my videos several months in advance before I actually get around to uploading them. There are very few exceptions to that rule. Like, if I need to make a major news announcement, like, right away, then I won't pre-record a video. I'll pre-record a video, like, maybe a day in advance or something. But for the most part, all my videos are recorded like several months in advance before I actually get around to uploading them, and that's how it's going to go with Race Day 2021 this year. So yeah, it's going to be awesome. I've got so many racing games to do this year, and I am proud to also announce that I will be playing over 20, yes, you heard me correctly, well over 20 actually, brand new racing games for you guys on this YouTube channel, as in games that I personally have never done before on this YouTube channel. And yeah, over 20. And I'm not gonna lie, the amount of money that I have put into this event this year has just been, for lack of a better word, batshit crazy. Well, I should say lack of a better phrase, but you know, whatever. Anyway, yeah, no, the amount of money I've put into producing this event for you guys this year is just fucking crazy. Just straight up fucking crazy. So I hope you guys appreciate it, you know, because it was not cheap. I'll put it to you guys that way. Well, to be fair, some of the games were pretty cheap that I purchased this year, because I like to play a lot of obscure racing games, and that's how I am in general with my YouTube channel. Like, I like to play a lot of mainstream games, sure, but I also like to play a lot of obscure games as well, because I feel like that keeps things really interesting on this YouTube channel. You never know what the hell I'm going to upload on any given day. And again, I feel like that's part of what keeps things on this YouTube channel kind of interesting, you know, is that on any given day, you never know what the hell I'm going to do next, you know? And I feel like that keeps things kind of interesting. And yeah, so I'm going to be showing off over 20 brand new racing games for you guys this year. I have some surprises in there for you as well. I'm still working on closing out a couple of deals here. But I may or may not have a big, huge announcement and surprise for you guys at the end of this recording session of Race Days, where, again, I go through all my racing games and do 4 races on every single racing game that I own. I may or may not have a huge announcement and big surprise coming for you guys at the end of this year's Race Day. Although I should really call it Race Days, because, you know, it takes several days to get through all my racing games and shit. But yeah, again, I'm still not 100% sure, because I'm still working out the details of this particular deal, but there may or may not be a huge surprise coming for you guys at the end of this recording session, so, or I should say recording sessions, because it's going to take me several sessions to get through all of my racing games. It's going to take me actually quite a few recording sessions to get through all these racing games, but yeah, it's going to be awesome. As you guys know, racing games have always been a huge part of my YouTube channel. I come from a long line of, like, race car drivers and race car mechanics and shit, you know, dating all the way back to the 40s. I had literally a great, I think he was my great-great-grandpa or something like that. He actually invented car parts for Henry Ford. So I come from a long line of, you know, like, race car mechanics in general, and even drivers in some cases. So racing is kind of, you know, something that's in my blood, and this, for me, is my way of kind of continuing that tradition by, you know, playing games, especially like Gran Turismo for you guys. You know, I've been getting really into Gran Turismo sport and shit, and I feel like I do have a little bit of racing blood in me, you know, I really do. Because I do definitely have that, you know, need for speed. Even when I'm even when I'm driving my regular car, you know, sometimes I'll step on the gas a little bit, you know, rev the engine a bit, you know, have a little fun. So yeah, I feel like that's something that's always been a part of who I am, a very important part of who I am. I've always loved racing games, as long as I can remember. One of my very first ever racing games, which I'm going to be playing later on during this event, was NASCAR 06. And I've always been a huge fan of NASCAR as well, ever since I was a little kid. I always loved NASCAR, man. It's some badass shit. I mean, you're going around fucking Daytona at like 200 miles an hour. That's pretty fucking badass, you know? So I've always loved NASCAR and motorsports in general. It's just really awesome stuff. So I feel like I definitely do have some of those, I inherited some of those racing genes in my blood and whatnot. So again, for me, playing racing games on this YouTube channel is a way for me to kind of continue that particular tradition. Oh, man. So again, like I said, shortly here I'm going to be reading a prepared statement for you guys. I just wanted to open up my energy drinks. Actually, my voice is already starting to get a little bit dry here. Got to keep my throat, you know, fresh and whatnot. So yeah, this first video is going to be kind of long because, again, there are a couple announcements I want to make very shortly here. Alright. So let me pull this up real quick. Okay, so I have this on my laptop. I'm going to be reading a prepared statement. Again, I'm not very good at explaining things, even when I write things out, so hopefully this makes at least some semblance of sense. But I want you guys to kind of understand where I'm coming from, you know, why I started this race day tradition, because this is the 4th year that I'm doing my race day tradition. And I kind of want you guys to understand, especially for those of you, because I've gained a lot of subscribers in the past couple of years, so those of you who have not been, you know, watching my YouTube channel for very long, I want you guys to understand where I'm coming from, just in general. So that way you guys have a little bit of understanding about me as a person. For those of you who actually care, I'm sure some of you don't, but hey, whatever. You know, I respect that. If you guys are just here to watch the videos and have a good time, I totally respect that. But either way, this is going to be my announcement about this particular event moving forward and how I'm going to change a few things. I'm going to change up the format of how I do this event in the future, and I wanted to explain to you guys the reasoning behind that. So this prepared statement is going to hopefully make everything clear for you guys and make my stance on this particular event clear for you guys and why I'm going to be changing how I do this particular event in the future. So anyway, without further delay, this is my prepared statement for this year. So, I've been doing race day now since 2018. When I first started this tradition on my YouTube channel, I was at a really hard point in my life. So let's all take a trip back to 2017. 2017 was a profoundly disappointing and very difficult year for me personally. Early in the summer of 2017, my dog passed away. And for those of you who, you know, have pets, you guys know that that can be a very traumatic event, very difficult to deal with. So that was just that was tough, you know. That was tough to deal with. So my dog passed away. Then, shortly after that, like a couple months after that, my stepbro. It's kind of a long story as to how that whole situation is, but or I should say was rather. But basically, his dad and my mom lived together for like 7 years, and I hated him, my so-called stepdad. He was a piece of shit. And for those of you who have watched my videos for a while, you know that I'm a very cynical person. I hate humanity in general. So when I say what I'm about to say, know that this should really tell you something. That out of all the humans that I wish would literally drop dead, I would not have wished for anyone's death more than I would have wished for the death of my stepfather, because he is a piece of fucking garbage who deserves to be killed. And I genuinely mean that. I would never do it myself, obviously, mostly because I'd never be able to get away with it, but he genuinely deserves to die. And I will revel in the moment when he dies. I will literally throw a fucking party when he dies. No shit, I will throw a fucking party when he dies, and I will piss on his fucking grave. So that should tell you something about just how much I hated him. But his son, on the other hand, very good person, very good human being. He had his own personal issues, but he was my best friend. He was a great human being, and I felt so bad for that kid because both of his parents, his mom too, is kind of a nutcase, and his dad's just a complete fucking asshole. No two ways about it. Complete fucking piece of shit. So I always felt kind of bad for the kid, but me and him always hung out together. He was my best friend, man. We did everything together, man. We would play video games together. We would go over to the local colony club, as they called it. They had like a game room where we would play ping pong and pool and shit. And we were actually pretty good at ping pong. Don't mean to brag, but we were pretty good at ping pong. And we used to always just have so much fun together, especially as kids. But the previous year, in 2016, my mom finally decided to be smart and kick my stepdad out of the house. And even after that, my best friend, my stepbro, decided that, because usually for summer he would stay with us. He would stay with his mom during like the school year time, you know, but during summer breaks and shit, he would come and live with us while his dad, you know, lived with us as well. But even after his dad was kicked out, and this should really tell you something, my stepbro decided to stay with us the summer of 2017, even though his dad was kicked out of the house. Because he always maintained a good relationship even after that with my mom, you know. My mom kind of always, you know, saw him as like a son that she never had, kind of. You know, I'm the son that she did have, obviously, and my older brother as well, but, you know, you guys kind of know what I'm saying there, hopefully. But yeah, that last summer, he decided to stay with us in 2017. So, shortly after my dog passed away, about a couple months, you know, and my stepbro was staying with us, it was just a really rainy year where I lived. There was a lot of rain, and the drainage at our house is not very good. So what ended up happening is, at the time, my bedroom was in the basement, along with all of my, like, video game systems and shit. In 2017, our basement flooded and destroyed most of my stuff. Luckily, by the grace of God, I was able to save all of my video game systems, my sound system, and all that shit. Because at the time, I actually only had 5 video game systems. I know, only had 5 video game systems, right? I think it was the Nintendo Switch, which I had actually just recently bought. Then the PlayStation 2, the Nintendo Wii U, the Sega Genesis, and the PlayStation 4. I was able to save all of them. I was able to save all of my video games. We were able to get most of my important stuff out of there in time, but I still did end up losing a bunch of my personal possessions and shit. Which is why, to this day, I still don't actually have a whole lot of personal possessions besides my video game systems and my video games and shit. Much beyond that, I don't have too many personal possessions. I also lost a lot of clothing as well. It was just, honestly, devastating for me. You know, a bunch of my shit got destroyed. That was devastating. But the worst in 2017 had yet to come. So a couple months after that, my stepbro went back to, because he lived in Ohio with his mom, so he went back to Ohio at the end of the summer. And then let's fast forward a couple months to the end of October. So I remember this day very vividly. I was sitting in my bedroom, right? I was listening to music, and I will never forget this because I was listening to a song called, and I shit you not, this is how ironically profoundly disappointing and depressing my life is. I was listening to a song by an 80s song by a band called Cutting Crew called I Just Died in Your Arms Tonight. And I will never forget this because I was listening to that song, and then my mom knocked on the door to tell me that my stepbro died. No shit. That is how profoundly disappointing and depressing my life is. I happen to be listening to a song like that and then just finding out that my best friend in the whole world died. So that's how how ironically and profoundly disappointing and depressing my life has been, just in general. And that just killed me, honestly. Metaphorically speaking, obviously I'm still alive, but goddamn, that just... Yeah, and I found that out too, like literally just a couple hours before I was going to start my shift at work. Because again, despite what my critics may tell you, I'm not just some jobless bum who sits around playing video games all day. I actually do have a job, believe it or not. So despite what my critics may tell you, not a jobless bum. I've actually had a job for the past 6 years, so yeah. Anyway, so that is why 2017 was such a profoundly disappointing year for me. The basement that I had played in since I was a little kid was destroyed. Completely destroyed. And my mom had to have several people come in to demolish it. Actually, we worked on demolishing it because it was a finished basement, but the flooding just ruined it so much to the point where we just had to demolish it and turn it into an unfinished basement. For those of you who know what I'm talking about there. So, my whole life was basically upended. My bedroom was in the basement, all my video game systems were in the basement, and everything was just, not everything, because luckily I was able to save most of my important possessions, but still, a lot of my stuff was destroyed. And that was, depressing. And then a couple months later to find out that my best friend died, so first it was my dog at the beginning of summer that passed away, then my basement flooded, destroyed most of my stuff, and then the worst of it, when I found out that my best friend in the whole world died. That's why 2017 was such a profoundly disappointing year in my life. Such a profoundly and utterly disappointing year in my life. And why it was extremely depressing. As I'm sure you guys can imagine, but I would like to think that if nothing else, I'm a very resilient person and I'm very optimistic. Stupidly optimistic. I'll be the first one to admit I am a very stupidly optimistic person, to the point where I'm just I'm not going to worry about shit. Shit'll work out some way, somehow. Fuck it, I will be the first one to admit I am a very stupidly optimistic person. But I would rather be stupidly optimistic than not stupidly optimistic. Even in 2017, yeah, my whole world basically came crashing down around me, right? But you know what, at the end of the day, because luckily my mom lives in a pretty big house, I was able to move into a different bedroom. One that hadn't been destroyed by, flooding. So, yeah, a lot of my stuff was destroyed. And even towards the end of the year, my best friend passed away. But you know what? Anytime that you go to bed with a roof over your head, sleeping in a comfortable bed, with food in the fridge, you, by any right, have nothing to bitch about at the end of the day. Again, if you go to bed with a roof over your head, food in the fridge, on a comfortable bed, in my opinion, you really have no right to bitch about anything. So, you know what? While my life may have sucked, it could have been a hell of a lot worse. Granted, could have been a hell of a lot better, my best friend could have, not died. My basement could have, not flooded. But it is what it is, At the end of the day, it is what it is. So for a while, there were several months when I had to live in the, I guess they'd call it guest bedroom, which actually used to be my own bedroom back in the day. It was the bedroom that I grew up in, actually up until high school. Then I switched down into the basement, which actually worked out better for me because my parents wouldn't be able to tell that I was staying up late, watching TV every night. even though back in the day I would still stay up on my, like, because I didn't have a TV in my room ever until, like, high school. Although even in high school, my TV technically wasn't in my bedroom. It was just outside of my bedroom, but the whole thing was in the basement, which is an enclosed area, so I didn't really have to worry about my parents popping it on me or anything. So even back then, I would still just, like, stay up late playing Pokemon on my Nintendo DS or shit like that, or Nintendogs or whatever. And I also had, like, a portable DVD player, so I'd just watch DVDs and shit. Even though my parents would be like, you gotta go to bed or whatever, and I'd be like, yup! And then I would stay up till fucking, like, midnight. You know? Awesome stuff. But yeah, 2017 was a really hard year for me. So finally, towards the end of the year, shortly after my stepbro had passed away, they finally finished remodeling the basement, finished painting shit like that. So I finally was able to set up all my video game systems, because I had all my video game systems and shit at that point crammed into the guest bedroom that I was staying in at the time. And I mean, like, crammed in there. Like, there was barely any space to walk in that bedroom with all my video game systems hooked up and shit like that. It was not a very good setup. Not a very good setup at all. But you know what? It was functional. Because, again, my basement had flooded and I had nowhere else to put any of that stuff. So I had to kind of throw together a makeshift setup in that bedroom. And it was crowded. Let me tell you, there's barely enough room to walk in there. But it was what it was. I was able to still play video games and shit. So yeah, it was just a really hard time. So when I finally got my recording studio back in order in the basement of my mom's house, I thought to myself, I want to do something special to commemorate this occasion, because you know what? My whole life got upended, but I landed back on my feet. And yeah, my life may have been shattered, and some of those pieces will never be found again. But I can put it back together as best I can. I can pick up the shattered pieces that I can find and put them back together again the best I can. And keep moving forward, because that's all there is to do at that point, you know? That's all you can do, is just try to pick up the pieces of your shattered life. Try to get all the ones that you can find and put them back together the best way that you can. And sometimes there's nothing else you can do. So that's what I decided to do, and I wanted to do something special to commemorate that particular occasion of me finally getting my studio back in order, because let me tell you, recording videos in that little bedroom was a pain in the ass. Let me tell you, holy crap. There would be times when I would literally have to sit on the hard floor with no chair in order to record videos for you guys. And holy hell was it a pain in the ass, literally. Just with how the room was, it wouldn't really work if I was sitting on the bed, because part of the TV would get blocked by the actual bed. It's kind of hard to explain, but yeah, so sometimes I'd have to sit on the floor in order to play certain games. And holy fucking crap, that hurt my ass. Not gonna lie, that fucking hurt my ass badly. Even if you were using like a blanket or something, it still wouldn't even help that much, you know? So yeah, that sucked. So when I finally got my studio back, because I didn't have room to put like an extra chair in there or anything. There was literally no room to put an extra chair in there. So I literally had to sit on the floor in some cases. So when I finally got my studio back, I'm like, finally I can sit in my, because I had like a little office chair at the time. It's actually, that particular office chair is still at my mom's house. When I move out on my own someday, I'm probably going to ask her if I can have it again. It's just like, now that I'm at my dad's house, because I basically sit on my bed whenever I record videos. The only problem with this setup is that there's no like backrest, which kind of sucks, but it is what it is. But I'm on my bed right now, and again, I literally just have a bedroom to work with. And I feel like I fit everything into here pretty well. I have a decent amount of room to work with, but I still don't have a lot of room. There's just not a really good spot to put a chair in here. So sitting on my bed works the best for this particular recording situation that I have right now at my dad's house. But yeah, when I finally got my studio back in order, and I finally got all my video game systems set up in the basement again, man, let me tell you, when I booted up one of my systems for the first time, goddamn, that felt good. I gotta say, after everything that I had been through that year, that felt damn good. Let me tell you, that felt damn fucking good. So I wanted to do something special to commemorate the occasion that I had finally persevered through all this adversity. I wanted to do something special for you guys, to show you guys that I'm okay. I persevered just as I always will through all the hardships that I had to endure. And so I thought to myself, I'm like, what special thing can I do to commemorate this particular occasion? And I thought to myself, I'm like, you know, I have a lot of racing games. Maybe it would be fun to do something like where I sit down for an entire day and just play every single racing game that I own. So I thought to myself, I'm like, okay, let's do it. You know, let's do it. Let's have a little fun. You know, because the last recording session that I had done in the bedroom was where I had played through all of my favorite Sega Genesis games, which I have been playing since I was 5 years old. And in fact, the same Sega Genesis that I played when I was 5 years old is the same exact Sega Genesis that you are watching footage of right now. In 2021. I mean, how fucking unbelievable is that when you think about it? I'm still playing on the same motherfucking Sega Genesis that I had when I was 5 goddamn years old. If that's not amazing, I don't know what the hell it is. Anyway, enough bragging about how awesome my Sega Genesis is. But I wanted to do something special, so I thought to myself, I'm like, why don't I just sit down and play every single racing game that I own? I'm going to do, let's say, just 4 races on every single racing game that I own. I'm like, okay, that seems doable. So then I went on Amazon. I'm like, it also might be fun to try out a couple of new racing games for the first time. Throw a couple of, brand new racing games in there as well with all my other racing games and just show those off for the first time. That might be fun to do as well. So I bought a few, not very many. Literally, I think just 4. So I bought 4 brand new racing games, threw those in there as well with all my other racing games. And so I sat down in my basement for the first time since it had flooded. In my newly demolished basement. The floor was painted, of course. But all the walls were, it's an unfinished basement now. The ceiling tiles were all gone and it just looked so different. Again, for a basement that I grew up in, it just looked so different. Felt like a different place, but it was still home to me. And so to sit down there and go through every single racing game that I own showed me that, hey, everything's going to be okay one way or the other. Shit may suck right now, but you know what? I'm sitting down here playing some really awesome racing games. Having a soda. You know what? I'm going to be okay. After all the adversity that I had gone through, that event helped me so much. What would become the very first annual race day on Multi-Step helped me so much after having to go through so much adversity that year. That helped me so much. More than you guys will ever know. It really helped me realize, hey, everything's gonna be okay, one way or the other. Shit may suck sometimes, but that's just the way life is. So it really helped me feel like everything's gonna be okay. And I had a lot of fun too, going through and doing 4 races on every single racing game that I own. I'm like, when I finished up the event, I'm like, damn, that was fun. That was really fucking fun, man. I was just like, man, I had a really good time. I had a smile on my face the whole time, having fun, kicking ass in some of those racing games. Man, that was just so much fun. So then next year rolled around, and I'm like, you know what? I had so much fun the first time. why not make it an annual tradition on my YouTube channel? Where I go through every single racing game that I own and do 4 races on every single racing game that I own, and throw some new racing games in there for fun, you know? Buy some new racing games and throw some new ones in there to show off for you guys. So it kind of became a way for me to show off new racing games for you guys while also showcasing all of the other racing games that I have as well. And it was just really fun, you know? It was just really fun. And the way I did it the first year was that I went from the older racing games. I played the older racing games first on my older systems and then went to the newer systems as the recording session went along. And I thought that was just a really fun way of doing it because it kind of showcases how, like, racing games have evolved over the years and shit like that. So, yeah, it was just awesome. So then I decided to continue doing that as well throughout the years, and it just worked really well, I thought. So that's kind of how I've done it since. And it's just been an awesome experience. So ever since 2017, technically, because I recorded the videos in 2017, but I didn't actually get around to uploading them till 2018. So technically 2018 was the first year that I did Multi-Steps Race Day. Technically on this YouTube channel, that annual tradition. That was technically the first year that I did it, but I recorded the videos back in 2017. Then I recorded the next set of videos in 2018 and uploaded them in 2018 as well. Or, no, I recorded those in 2018, uploaded them 2019, and then 2019... Yeah, and then 2019, and then 2020. And now here we are in 2021. And it's awesome. But anyway, I'm getting off kind of on a tangent here. But overall, I gotta say, I really have enjoyed doing this event for you guys over the years. The amount of support that you guys have given me is more than I could ever ask for. It has really been fun doing Race Day, where I do, again, 4 races on every single racing game that I own. But there's something special about the way I do it. Again, I was kind of talking about this before. So there is kind of a special way that I do this particular event. I play the racing games that I have on my older systems first, then I go to the newer systems as I proceed with going through all of my racing games. This is why I start with racing games on my Sega Genesis and end with racing games on my PlayStation 4. Typically, the order I go in is Sega Genesis, Nintendo 64, PlayStation 1, GameCube, PlayStation 2, Wii, Xbox 360, PlayStation 3, Wii U, Switch, and then PS4. The only systems I really do out of order as far as like the order of which systems are newer than other systems is the Switch and the PlayStation 4. And that's because the PlayStation 4 has more processing power than the Switch. That's the only reasons why I switched those two up. I do it in this way, though, because I think it is fun to see how racing games have evolved over the years, like I said. One of the other reasons why I do this event every year is to try out new racing games. Again, like I said. As in games that I personally have never played before, not necessarily brand new racing games. Just want to make that clear. But yeah, playing those racing games for the first time and showcasing them on my YouTube channel for you guys to watch and hopefully enjoy is one of the main reasons why I do this event for you guys. Getting my first-time reactions to games and trying out new games for the first time is one of my favorite things to do for you guys on this YouTube channel. Plus, some of my reactions are honestly priceless, especially depending on what game I'm playing, because God knows I've played some rather odd games on this YouTube channel over the years. But hey, it's been fun. It has been so fun to experience and showcase so many different and unique racing games during this Race Day event every year. It has given me motivation to try so many new racing games. With that being said, however, on my YouTube channel, I always like to pride myself on playing a wide variety of games. I don't play just racing games. I play fighting games, sports games, party games, JRPGs, FPS games, and basically any other kind of game that you can imagine. I do not like to limit the possibilities of what I can and can't do on this YouTube channel, which is why I like to play a wide variety of games. That is why I'm officially announcing that this will be the last year that I will be doing race day with this particular format where I do 4 races in every single racing game that I own. Please allow me to explain why. The first year that I did race day, I had maybe 30 to 35 racing games, so I did maybe a total of 120 to 140 races. By the next year, I had expanded upon my collection of racing games, so I had approximately, let's just say, like 48 racing games, which means I did about like 190 races. Then for last year's race day, I expanded my collection of racing games by quite a hell of a lot. I went from about 48 racing games to having 67 racing games. So to give you guys an idea of just how fucking crazy last year's race day event was, I did, as usual, 4 races on every single racing game that I own, which means I did 268 races for that event last year, which means that I uploaded 268 videos of races in a row on my YouTube channel. It took me a little over 2 weeks to actually upload all those videos. The logistics of putting that event together last year was absolutely fucking insane. It took me also about 2 weeks to actually record all those videos for you guys and to get all 268 of those races done. When you take into account the 2 weeks I spent actually recording the videos and the 2 weeks of time I spent then uploading them, that amounts to almost a month of my time spent on doing this event for you guys. Like I said earlier, on this YouTube channel, I like to focus on providing you guys with a wide variety of content, not just racing games. Last year, I felt that this race day event that I have made an annual tradition on this YouTube channel took away too much time from me being able to work on other projects for you guys. This is why this will be the last year that I will be doing this race day event with this format of doing 4 races on every single racing game that I own. This does not mean that I will not be doing my annual race day event in the future. I fully intend to continue doing this event in the future, but instead I will be doing it with a different format. Instead of doing 4 races on every single racing game that I own, I will showcase 8 new racing games every year during my annual race day event and do 4 races to showcase each one. I think this is a good compromise because this way it will still be fun for those of you who enjoy my racing game content, and it won't take a lot of time away from other projects that I want to work on as well. Also, just as a reminder for those of you who enjoy my racing game content, fear not, because racing games will always be a big part of what I do on this YouTube channel. I will always do my best to provide content that everyone will enjoy on my YouTube channel, no matter what kind of games you're into, which is why I will always do my best to play a wide variety of games for you guys. I also just want to say truly, thank you for all the support I've gotten from you guys over the past couple of years. It has been a truly unbelievable and humbling experience, and more than I could have ever hoped for or expected. I will always try my best to be the best that I can be, and to provide you guys with the best content that I possibly can. From the bottom of my heart, thank you all so much for the support you guys have given me. It means more to me than words could ever express. You guys are truly the finest human beings in the world. Thank you all so much. So much. Alright. Well, anyway, so hopefully that made some semblance of sense. So, yes. Anyway, that was my prepared statement. I'm going to be honest, I did ad-lib part of that, but, you know, that's how I like to do things. I don't typically like to read prepared statements, but I feel like that time I wanted to get my thoughts out clearly and precisely. So, yes, this will be the last year that I do race day in this format where I play every single racing game that I own, because, again, I like to provide you guys with a wide variety of content, and I feel like it just takes too much time away from other projects that I want to work on. So instead, I'm going to focus from now on race day. I'm going to do 8 brand new racing games every year, and still do 4 races on, you know, all those games, but I figure I want to focus on making this about showing off brand new racing games rather than going through and playing every single racing game that I own, because it's getting to the point where I have so many racing games that it's just too much for me to do, you know? It takes way too much time to put together and way too much time away from other projects that I want to work on as well. Again, though, for those of you who, again, I just want to make it abundantly clear, don't worry, because there will still always be plenty of racing game content on this YouTube channel. You guys have nothing to worry about there, so no worries there. You guys have nothing to fear. Again, I will always make racing games a huge part of what I do on this YouTube channel, because I have always loved racing games. So again, for those of you who like racing games, don't worry, there will always be plenty of racing game content on this YouTube channel. You have nothing to fear there. Again, I like to focus on playing more than just racing games as well at the same time, you know? Again, I will always play racing games, but I like to play a wide variety of games as well, and I feel like this particular race day project just takes way too much time away from other projects that I want to work on. So, I feel like it's a good way of compromising, you know? So that way in the future, I'll still have this race day event where I'll show off 8 brand new games for you guys. It'll be fun. It'll be awesome. But then I can, you know, get on with working on other projects that I want to work on. Because especially the last, couple years, I've really tried to focus on working on playthrough projects, you know, storyline-based games. That's why you guys have seen a lot of, you know, like Pokemon Sword or Dark Cloud or Atelier Aisha, Rogue Galaxy back in the day. That was even a couple years ago now. But yeah, there's that project. There's the original Bayonetta. I completed that. That was awesome. I worked on even South Park: The Stick of Truth. So I've been really making an effort to work on more storyline-based games, because I feel like that's something I've kind of slacked off on a little bit. Also, just with how things are nowadays, I'm probably going to be buying a lot less new games coming up, because I'm trying to save up for my future plans. And besides, I already have so many playthrough projects that I've started that I need to work on. I'm never going to run out of content to produce for you guys, because there's still so many playthrough projects that I need to complete, you know? There's so many that I've started but never actually completed or really worked on since playing the game for the first time. So again, I just feel like this race day event while it's very fun, don't get me wrong, it's very fun. I really enjoy this race day event. Don't get me wrong, but I just feel like it takes too much time away from other projects that I want to work on. And really starting to work on storyline-based games has become a main priority for me, although this next year things may get a little bit messed up. So it just kind of is what it is, but I've been trying to kind of trend towards that. Again, we'll see how that kind of plays out in this next year with some of my plans and whatnot, but yeah, again, I just feel like this particular event just takes too much time away from other things that I want to work on. So I feel like, again, this is a good compromise where I'll just show off 8 brand new racing games for the first time, do 4 races on all of them, and it'll still be a fun event, you know, this race day thing. It won't be as big, you know, of an event as it has been in the past, but it'll still be a very fun event, I think. So yeah. Anyway, I hope at least some of that made some kind of sense to you guys, because again, I know I'm really bad at explaining things. But yeah, either way, that being said, this particular race day will be the last one where I go through every single racing game that I own and do 4 races on every single racing game that I own. So for at least this last year, I will still be doing it with that particular format. So you guys better strap yourselves in, because you're in for a hell of a wild ride if you're going to stick here with me through this wild ride, because holy shit, we got a lot of games to get through, guys. A lot of racing game content to get through here. So again, you guys better strap yourselves in and prepare for this shit, because holy goddamn. Let me just say, I went above and beyond this year. There's some very fun, I think, surprises in here for you guys this year. Some very unique racing games as well. I kind of went, this year, I kind of feel like I went more so with older racing games this year. like, as far as the systems, like, for the Wii, the PlayStation 3, Xbox 360, PlayStation 4, and Switch, I didn't really get a whole lot of brand new racing games on those particular systems. I kind of went with older racing games, you know, like on the PlayStation 2, particularly with the PlayStation 2, PlayStation 1, and actually the Sega Genesis. I feel like as far as racing games, I bought like the most amount of racing games on those particular systems, but there will still be at least one new racing game on, you know, the Wii, the Xbox 360, and the PlayStation 4, and maybe even a surprise again, like I said, at the end of this recording session. I'm not guaranteeing that just yet, because I'm still actually working on that particular deal. I don't know if I'll be able to pull it off in time or not. We'll see. Because again, I'm still working on that particular deal. But if all pans out, there will be a huge surprise for you guys at the end of this recording session. And even maybe some big surprises throughout this this race day event for you guys. So yeah, you guys are. I feel like you guys are in for a hell of a ride this year. I think I really outdid myself this year as far as like the games that I have selected for this year. Again, obviously I'm going to be playing all the same racing games that I have in the past, but as far as like the brand new racing games that I've bought that I'm going to show off for you guys this year, I think I really outdid myself this year. I gotta say, I think some really good ones. That being said, I don't actually know because I've never played any of them before, so I can't necessarily say for certain that they're going to be good games or that they're going to be fun, but I really feel like I got some ones that should be interesting this year. Some very interesting ones, that's for sure. Some games that I looked and I'm like, no way is this game actually a thing. But yeah, there are some really obscure ones in this particular batch of brand new racing games that I'm going to be showing off this year. Of course, interspersed, interlocked with my old racing games as well, ones that I've already done on this YouTube channel. But yeah, between the old games that I'm going to be showing off, all my old racing games and the new ones in there as well, there's going to be some good ones. But some of the new games that I bought this year, I actually looked them up and I'm just like, no way does this game exist, because I thought that some of them were actually jokes. But then I looked them up and I'm like, holy crap, this is an actual game that I can actually buy and physically own. Holy crap, There's some really obscure racing games this year, some very well-known ones as well. But I feel like it's a good mix this year. I feel like I definitely did a good job picking new racing games for you guys this year. And of course my old, my collection of all my other racing games that I've already played as well is also a hell of a collection. So, yeah, either way, I do really feel like I outdid myself this year. Definitely feeling a bit proud of myself, not gonna lie. So, yeah, shit should be really fucking awesome this year. I'm really looking forward to it. You guys, it's gonna be some good shit. So, yeah. Alright. Well, I think that's just about enough of me talking, because holy crap, that went on for a long time. Alright, so I think it's time for Multi-Step to shut the fuck up and do some driving. So guys, it's time finally to kick off Race Day 2021 here on Multi-Step, the greatest fucking gaming channel in the history of YouTube. Fuck yeah. Actually, probably the dumbest gaming channel in the history of YouTube, but hey, I have fun with it, so who the hell gives a shit? Alright, anyway. Guys, we are about to embark on one hell of an adventure, so strap yourselves in and prepare for this shit. Alright. Kicking off Race Day 2021, let's get this show on the road. Alright. Totally nailing it. Super speed. Oh yeah. Actually doing shockingly good so far. Damn it, fucking silver car. Or truck or whatever the hell these things are. Pretty sure these are trucks, actually. Not actually 100% sure, but I'm pretty sure these things are trucks. Damn it, fuck! Just going, shit, I was going crazy there. Damn it, I was actually doing pretty good, too. I fucked it up. damn it. Fucking son of a bitch. Whoa, shit. Yeah, that thing went all crazy on me on that one turn. Fucking sucked. Damn. I was actually doing pretty decent for a while there, but then I just fucked it up. Alright, so not too great for my first race of the day, but then again, I'm not very good at this game, so it's not really that surprising, but... Alright, so that's the first race down, and I've got about... Let's just say like 300 more to go, something like that. Probably over 300 more races to go. So that's one down, like 300 something more races left to do for you guys. So, yeah, we're just getting this party started. So, stay tuned for the next fucking race. And until then, peace out.